Good morning, students. Welcome back to our economics class. Right. Hope you all have gone through the topics, what all we have discussed in our previous classes. So today I'm going to start with new chapter, that is our fourth chapter, planning. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss the main questions. Only 5 marks weightage questions are there. We will complete that today. So today we are going to start with our new chapter, that is planning. Okay, in this fourth chapter, you are having 5 marks and 2 marks question. Very simple chapter. Only 1 or 2 questions are there. Mostly we will complete this chapter today. Okay, so this planning, basically in Indian economy, as we have seen the various problems in Indian economy, like problem of poverty, problem of unemployment, and as India is a developing economy, so these all developing economy, as we face many problems. Our Indian government, after independence, they have started planning commission. So this Indian planning commission was set up in the country for planning. Generally, what do you mean by a plan? Plan is a document which will help us to achieve certain goal. When we have some objective, we will achieve that with a certain plan. It is planning means what? It is a strategical way where we do the planning. So here the systematic thinking and economic efforts to achieve the goal is called as planning. Now in this planning, generally every economy will plan for the economy, will plan for the development. So in India also, Indian Planning Commission was set up for development of our Indian economy. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss what are the different types of plans we are having, what are the objectives of planning, what is planning and what are the objectives of planning, what is Niti Aayog, and how the measures are taken for balanced regional development. Only few questions are there. We are going to discuss about that. So your first question is, what is planning? What are its objectives? Generally, so your question is planning. Planning is what? Planning is a scientific choice and systematic thinking which the economic efforts to achieve the objectives. That is called as planning. So when planning is done, first let us see what are the different types of planning we are having. Types of planning you will be getting for 2 marks. Okay. In these types of plans we are having, first one, planning under capitalism. Planning under capitalism. Planning under capitalism is what? Capitalism means what? It is a type of economy. We call it as a free market economy, where the freedom for the private industries, private enterprises, freedom will be there. Freedom of choice will be there. Means as a producer, you have the freedom to set up the price for the commodity, to make the product whatever you want to do. So complete freedom, no government interference will be there. Such type of economy is called as capitalist economy. So in capitalist economy, profit will be the main motive. Main motive is profit. So under capitalism, the government interference will not be there. So whatever the planning is done, it is done for profit motive. Then another economy we have, that is planning under socialism. Planning under socialism means what? What is a socialist economy? It is a completely controlled economy. Controlled means completely the economy is the rules, regulations, how much production should be done, what should be the price, everything will be decided by the government. So socialist economy is also called as command economy. So the planning under socialism, the planning will be done by the central authority where they plan for service motive. You see, in capitalism, planning is done for profit motive, whereas in socialism, for service motive, welfare of the people. Service, or we can say for the welfare of the people, planning will be done. So that is all our planning under socialism. Then next type of planning we have, that is planning under mixed economy. Mixed economy, it is a combination of both capitalism and socialism. So we have free market economy, that is freedom to the private sectors, as well as government also will be there. So in mixed economy, the public sector will be there and private sector will be there. Government will make certain laws, certain rules and regulations which has to be followed by the private sectors. So this is how we have planning under mixed economy here. Next, we have democratic planning and authoritarian planning. Democratic and authoritarian. Democratic means what? When the plans are made, the government will not control all the means of production, means it will take the opinion of the public. Based on the opinions of the people, planning will be done to achieve the set objectives. Means here in democratic planning, opinion of public, opinion of people is considered for planning in the economy. Whereas in authoritarian planning, it is a centralized planning, means they don't consider the opinion of the people. They don't consider any public opinion here. Whatever they feel good for the society, they will do the planning. Okay, authoritarian means central planning authority will do without any interference of the public. Democratic, public opinion will be taken. Then next type of planning we are having, that is centralized and decentralized planning. Centralized and decentralized planning. Centralized planning means what? One centralized authority will be there. For example, in India, we have Indian Planning Commission. They make the plans for all the sectors, for all the purpose, the planning will be done for development process. Whereas decentralized planning means one authority will not be there. Decentralized. Okay. So here you can see in decentralized planning, coordination among the units is ensured. Means we will make sure that individuals are making the planning and among them coordination should be there. So you can say centralized planning, it is a socialistic planning. Decentralized planning is planning in a mixed economy. Centralized is followed in socialist, decentralized is followed in mixed economy. Next type of planning is planning from above and planning from below. Planning from above means what? The central planning authority prepares the plan for the nation and forward them to the regional units. Means planning from above. Higher authority will make the plan, that is a central planning authority will make the plan, and that will be implemented throughout the country. Whereas planning from below means here all the regional level plans are considered and one top level plan will be made. One overall plan will be made by considering the regional plans. So that is planning from above and planning from below. Next we have perspective planning and annual planning. Perspective planning and annual planning. Perspective planning means here perspective. The perspective planning is long-term planning. Long-term, right? Perspective means it is a long-term for 20, 25 years or something like that. We can say annual planning is yearly plan. Annual means what? Every year the planning will be done. Okay. Perspective means which is for a longer period, and annual planning is a yearly plan. So these are the different types of plans. Once go through what are the different types of plans, because from these types of planning, you may get a 2 marks question. Planning under capitalism, as capitalism is a free market economy, where the planning will be done for profit motive by the private sectors. Government interference will not be there. Planning under socialism, socialist is an economy where it is a command economy, and government will do the planning based on set of rules and regulations. So they do the planning for welfare of the society. Planning under mixed economy. Mixed economy is combination of both capitalist as well as socialist economy. Public sectors will be there as well as private sectors will be there. Okay. Government will make the guidelines, laws, rules and regulations which has to be followed by the private sectors. Okay. Next, democratic and authoritarian planning. Democratic means when the planning is done in the country, people's opinion is considered and planning is done. Authoritarian means centralized authority will make the plan. They are not bothered about the opinion of the public. The next, centralized and decentralized. Centralized planning, which is done under socialist economy. Decentralized, which is followed in the mixed economy. Centralized means only one authority is responsible for planning. Decentralized means every individual, like private sectors have the freedom to plan, public sector will plan, small units will plan, like that everyone has their own authority to make the plan, but coordination among them should be there. That is decentralized planning. Planning from above and planning from below. Planning from above means one centralized plan will be made overall. It will be implemented in the regional levels. Planning from below means all regional level plans are made that will be made as a central level plan. Perspective and annual planning. Perspective planning is for long-term period, whereas annual planning, it is for on yearly basis. So these are the different types of plans here. Then next we will go with the objectives of planning. Okay, so what is planning and what are its objectives? So now let us discuss the objectives of planning. As we all know, planning is done as a systematic way to achieve certain goals, right? In India, planning is done to achieve development of our economy. Development in all the ways, human resource development, natural resources utilization, overall regional development, right? Rural area development, to remove the problem of poverty, to remove the problem of unemployment, whatever the problems are we are facing in our country, to reduce the problems, planning is done in our country. So what are the basic objectives of this planning? We will just see over here. So in India, for planning, Indian Planning Commission was set up Indian Planning Commission framed 5-year plans. So in India, we had 5-year plans for every 5 years. Means now the plan like eradication of poverty. 5 years time gap they have taken. In that 5 years, they implement all the plans and they want to achieve the target. What is the target? Removal of poverty. For that, various systematic measures are taken. Various programs are introduced in the country to achieve the set objective. Okay. So here, Indian Planning Commission, which was set up in 1950, framed 5-year plans. What are the major objectives of these 5-year plans? You just see the major objectives of 5-year plans are: first, economic growth. Economic growth is what? Growth means what? Like we have discussed in our first chapter. Growth means increase in real output of goods and services. Economic growth is what? Continuous increase. Okay, we can see here continuous increase in the real output of goods and services. So in Indian economy, when the 5-year plans are made, they aimed at economic growth. Means in the country, the output of goods and services should be increased continuously. With that objective, planning is made. Okay. So for this, to increase the output in the country, what they have done, they have introduced the programs such as development of small scale industries, agricultural development like green revolution they have taken, then irrigation development of irrigation facilities for agriculture sector. So these all various programs have done. And moreover, recently we can say 1990s, liberalization, privatization and globalization, where freedom is given to the private sectors, with which the output of goods and services in the country can be increased. So this is one objective here. Now, second objective is what? Self-reliance. Self-reliance, as we have studied in the first chapter, self-reliance means what? Not depending on other countries. We should not import the goods from other countries. We should make our products in our country itself. Okay. So which will help us for development. So self-reliance. For self-reliance, what our country has done here means in 5-year plan to achieve the self-reliance, they have introduced like green revolution. What is green revolution? Green revolution is a program to increase agriculture production. So with the 5-year plans, India achieved self-sufficiency in food grain production, which is achieved through our green revolution program, and also in the manufacturing sectors. And in case of self-reliance in capital equipments in the engineering goods, in all these, India has achieved self-sufficiency. Okay. So self-reliance means what? Not depending on other nations. So India is trying to get the self-sufficiency in food grain production, in agriculture sector, capital goods, that is engineering goods and all, where they will not depend on other countries. And the planning is made to achieve the objective of balanced regional development. Balanced regional development. What is balanced regional development? Generally, we find in India, we have rural areas and urban areas. Rural areas are the backward areas where development is very less. Urban areas are the developed areas where development is very fast. We have these disparities between rural and urban. Regional wise also we have the disparities. So in 5-year plans, in the country, they have introduced the program of balanced regional development. So to achieve balanced regional development, what 5-year plan, in 5-year plan, what they have done? Recognizing the backward areas and providing financial resources to the backward areas. Special area development program is given and measures were taken to promote the private investments in the backward area. So for balanced regional development in 5-year plan, what they have done? First, they identified backward area, right? And financial resources are made available in the backward areas, and they are encouraging the private investors to invest in the backward areas so that balanced regional development is possible. Next, another objective of 5-year plans is increasing employment opportunities. Because unemployment is one of the major problem which we face in our Indian economy. So to reduce the problem of unemployment, like we have seen, employment and wage policies were introduced. The programs like National Rural Employment Program, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. So these are the various programs that were introduced in the country during 5-year plans with the aim to increase the employment opportunities, especially in the rural areas, because unemployment problem is severe in rural areas. So to increase the employment opportunities, various programs were introduced in the country, such as National Rural Employment Program, Jawahar Rozgar Yojana, Nehru Rozgar Yojana also is there. Then Integrated Rural Development Program. So these all created employment opportunities. So through 5-year plan, the employment was reduced to the certain, means the unemployment rate has declined. Another objective of 5-year plans is reduction in income inequalities. Reduction in income inequalities. Income inequalities, because in India we find the problem of inequalities in distribution of income and wealth. So through 5-year plan, land reforms were introduced like tenancy reforms, land ceiling act, where to certain extent inequalities between rich and poor people, high income and low income people, that is reduced. So the objective of 5-year plan, in 5-year plan, they make the program to reduce the problem of income inequalities and elimination of poverty. Elimination of poverty. Poverty is a severe problem. Generally, you see any country where poverty problem is there, development is not possible. So to achieve development, poverty should be reduced or completely eradicated. So what Indian government has done through 5-year plans, like you can say during the period of Indira Gandhi, in 5-year plan, they introduced the program of Garibi Hatao program. So with that 5-year plan, they try to reduce, means how the poverty can be reduced over here? By providing minimum needs. Because in India, we have absolute poverty. Absolute poverty means what? Where their income is not sufficient for intake of required calories. Minimum subsistence level we have discussed. So when they are unable to intake the calories, health will affect, right? So for that, in 5-year plan, the program was introduced like minimum needs program, where they are providing the basic needs like food, shelter, and education, health are provided at the subsidized prices. So food is provided to below poverty line people at subsidized prices through public distribution system. So that is eradication of poverty. And objective of planning is modernization. Here in India, not only development of the economy, but also take the modernization, means modern development should be done in the country, because we should be dynamic, change according to the society, compete with the global economies. So in a modernization process, what they have done, a variety of structural and institutional changes are made in the economic activities. That means importance is given for science and technology, research and development is conducted so that new technology is developed in the country, which helps us to improve our productivity levels and which automatically helps for the development of the economy. And next, another objective is inclusiveness and sustainable development. Inclusiveness and sustainable development. Inclusiveness means what? Inclusive growth. As we have discussed, inclusive growth means including the marginalized, excluded sections of the society. They should be included. Who are excluded earlier should be included in our development process, in our growth process, along with that sustainability. Sustainability means what here? Meeting the needs of present without compromising for future. So these are the objectives of 5-year plans. So when 5-year plans or Indian Planning Commission is making the plans in the country, the main objectives are to increase, to have economic growth, continuous increase in our output, to achieve self-reliance, not depending on other countries, to achieve balanced regional development, identify the backward areas, increase the investments in backward area, increasing employment opportunities by providing employment work for the people who are unemployed, reduction in income inequalities, as it is a severe problem, that income inequalities reduction, various programs have taken, elimination of poverty, like removal of poverty programs were introduced in 5-year program, 5-year plans, modernization, whatever the development we are achieving, that should be achieved through our new modernized way, through development of science and technology, research and development and all. Inclusiveness, including the excluded, marginalized sections of the society, growth should happen, and meeting the needs of the present without compromising for the future. So these are the objectives of our planning. Clear? So this will be your 5 marks question. Objectives of planning. Right. Then next, one more important question we have in this chapter, like almost every time they are repeating the question, that is Niti Ayog. Niti Ayog, as it is an important question, just we will see what is Niti Ayog and what are the functions and objectives here. Niti Ayog is what is the full form of Niti Ayog? National Institute for Transforming India. So Niti Ayog means what? National Institute for Transforming India. Niti Ayog, it is a replacement of Indian Planning Commission. So, Niti Aayog is a replacement of Indian Planning Commission, which was replaced in the year 2015. So, Niti Aayog came into existence in the year 2015 as a replacement of Indian Planning Commission. Okay. So, what is Niti Aayog? Niti Aayog will work for government and they will allocate, they will look after the development of the economy. Means here, their focus is from center to state flow of policy is replaced with cooperative federalism. So, the main objective is to convert from center to state flow of policy is replaced by cooperative federalism. Means here, earlier during 5-year plans, Indian Planning Commission was there. As we said, it is a replacement of Indian Planning Commission. In Indian Planning Commission, how the planning was done? Center used to do the plan. Those plans are implemented throughout the states. But now, this Niti Aayog came into existence where instead of center to state flow of policy, we should have cooperative federalism. Means whatever the development activities or whatever the planning is done, it should not be a one-way policy. It should be a cooperative policy. Means planning from below will be there, democratic planning will be there, decentralized planning they will follow here. Each and every person or each and every organization or sector has an authority to plan and everyone will work cooperatively for the development of our country. With that objective, Niti Aayog has started functioning in our country. Okay, so first let us discuss what are the functions of Niti Aayog. So if this question comes, just give the introduction, write down the functions and objectives. We will discuss only the main functions and objectives here. The functions of Niti Aayog are, okay, first let us discuss the objectives here. Why Niti Aayog was set up? The objectives of Niti Aayog are, first one, change the role of government from provider to enabler. To change the role of government from provider to enabler. Means government not only provide the policies, rules, regulations or only, but they should also enable everyone to make the plans, to make the policies where including everyone development is possible. So government role has changed from provider to enabler. And here to focus on agricultural production to achieve food security. Another objective is to focus on agricultural production to achieve food security. Means in the country, food security. Food security means what? Food security means availability of food to the increasing population. Security means we are giving assurance that how much our population is increasing, food is sufficient to them. To get that food security, agricultural production should increase here. So, when we have increased agricultural production, it will benefit the farmers. Farmers' income level will increase. It will help to do more and more agricultural production so that we can achieve the food security. That is one more objective of Niti Aayog. And another objective is active participation in global issues. So Niti Aayog makes sure that in India, whatever the policies we are making, the means India should be in such a stage that whatever the global issues are there, India can participate in the global issues. Now we have G20 summit, G7 summit, which is going on in that. So in that, India will be an active player. Means our opinions also we can showcase in that global meetings, so that India will have an importance and we also can take part in the development of the economy. So take active participation in the global issues and to incorporate NRIs in development process. So all the non-resident Indians are also involved in the development process. Means investments can be done by NRIs. Certain facilities are given to them so that it helps for development of our country. To promote good governance through technology. Promote good governance through technology. Now you can see our government is using mostly technology, like we have Twitter, Instagram and all, where you can showcase what are the problems faced by you. Immediately government will take the action for that. Means proper governance is done over here and everything is an online system. Now there is no chance of corruption. So these all will help India for development. Okay, so these 5 points you write down for objectives because it is a 5 marks question. You will write down the introduction. You write these simple points for your objectives. Now, in functions, what all you will write? Because as it is coming for 5 marks, only objectives they will not ask. They will ask the question, write a note on Niti Aayog. So what is Niti Aayog? What are its objectives? And what are the functions we have to mention here? So just see the functions of Niti Aayog. It helps us to transform India into cooperative and competitive federalism. First function, it is facilitating to transform India into cooperative and competitive federalism. Means India is completely transformed into a cooperative. Cooperative means what? All the sectors come together, all the sectors compete with each other, all together help for development of the economy. In that way, Niti Aayog is working. And another one, it introduced bottom-up model through decentralized planning. So, Niti Aayog introduced bottom-level planning where everyone are included in the planning process. Bottom-level planning through decentralization. Decentralization is what? Planning. Everyone individually they do the plan and all together help for development of our economy. So, Niti Aayog introduced bottom level planning through decentralization, which helps in cooperation among all the sectors and we can achieve development in an easy way. So again, how it is functioning? Niti Aayog prepare strategies which assist state and center level. Okay, so here the strategies are made by Niti Aayog which will assist our state and the central government, which will assist our state and central ministers. And Niti Aayog enables capacity building It enables capacity building and innovation. So it gives importance for increasing the capacity of our production levels as well as technology upgradation and innovation in the country. Also, Niti Aayog monitors implementation of government policies. It monitors the implementation of the government policies, also sees that whatever the policies are framed, whether it is implemented properly throughout the country, are the people getting benefit of this policy, review will be done, and any changes have to be made, the changes will be made. That's why we say it is not a one-way flow of policy. It is a cooperative policy making. So with these functions, these are the functions which are made by the Niti Aayog. It will facilitate to cooperative and competitive federalism. It introduced bottom level planning through decentralization. It prepared strategies which will assist state and central level ministers. It enables to build the capacity, develop the capacity of our Indian economy and innovation and technological upgradation. Also, it monitors, it sees how the implementation of the policies are made and what changes have to be made over here. So these are the functions of Niti Aayog. So when you get the Niti Aayog question for 5 marks, you write the introduction, these 5 objectives and 5 functions. It is a compulsory question for 5 marks. Very, very, very important. Compulsory. Almost every time they are asking this question for 5 marks. So your question will be, write a note on Niti Aayog. So you write this in a simplified way. You write this answer. 5 objectives, 5 functions. Clear? So this completes your Niti Aayog answer. Okay, so just prepare this answer here, Niti Aayog. And one more question from this chapter you have, that is measures taken for balanced regional development. Measures taken for balanced regional development. So in this chapter, whatever the questions we are preparing, those will be for your 5 marks weightage question. Okay, one is planning and its objectives, Niti Aayog, and measures for balanced regional development. In these measures for balanced regional development, like we will, okay, so if you see in India, we have in regional imbalances. Regional imbalances means what? Some areas are developed, some regions are backward. Why we have backward regions? So for balanced regional development, through planning, what Planning Commission has made through planning, identifying the backward regions, providing financial resources in the backward regions, encouraging the private investors in the backward regions so that this backward region can be developed. So the measures we will see one by one. What government has taken for balanced regional development means equal development of all the regions. How to develop a backward area? First, investments should be increased in increased in backward areas. Investment should be increased in backward areas. As investment increases, if people of backward area can create employment, that area will develop. When investment is done in a backward area, development of that backward area is possible. Okay, then development of infrastructure, development of physical infrastructure, education facilities, health services, these all should be provided in the backward regions. Another problem, we have population. So the measure is taken such as reduce the growth of population by providing them with the knowledge, with the efforts to encourage the economic growth. Means various policies should be made, awareness should be created, various policies like family planning measures and all should be introduced in the backward areas so that growth of population can be reduced. If population growth is reduced, automatically it helps for the development. And another measure, investment in irrigation, which helps in agriculture development, and credit facilities should be provided for agriculture production. So, in backward regions, investment in irrigation should be provided because most of the backward regions are rural areas. Rural areas' main occupation is agriculture. So, for agriculture, as irrigation is very, very essential, investment in irrigation is done and providing credit facilities for the agricultural production and remunerative prices are provided for agricultural production. This will increase the income levels of the farmers with which backward region can be developed. And another measure, technology should be utilized in both agriculture and industrial sector in backward regions. In backward regions, in agricultural, technology should be introduced. Means they should use the technology. It will help for development in the agriculture sector as well as in the industrial sector, which will provide sufficient goods to satisfy the needs in the rural areas and reduce the poverty problem, poverty reduction and reducing unemployment through NREP, IRDP programs. Like as we have discussed this program, National Rural Employment Program, Integrated Rural Development Program. These are like employment and wage policy, minimum needs program, which will reduce the problem of poverty in the backward area. When poverty is reduced, automatically it helps for the development of the economy and creating the employment opportunities in the rural areas. And the poor sections of the society, poorer sections of the society should be included in growth process. Poorer sections of the society should be included in the growth process so that we can achieve the inclusive growth. And governance have to be transparent and effective. Governance has to be transparent and effective. In the backward regions, the governance has to be transparent. What government is doing, what plans are done, what policies are done should be informed to all the people in the backward region, as well as the implementation should be effective so that the backward region can be developed. Okay, so these many points you write down for measures for balanced regional development. This is enough for your 5 marks. So almost 8 points are there. This is enough for your balanced regional development. Investment should be increased in backward region. Development of infrastructure, education and health facilities. Reduce the growth of population by various policies. Investment in irrigation helps for agricultural production. Credit facilities should be provided, and also remunerative prices. Remunerative prices are provided for agricultural production, which in turn helps the farmers to increase their income levels. Technology should be used in both agricultural and industrial sector. As we use technology, obviously development is possible. Poverty reduction and unemployment reduction should be taken place, means the programs were introduced to reduce the poverty and unemployment. Poorer sections of the society are included in the growth process, and government has to be transparent and very effective. So these are the various measures that are taken by government for balanced regional development. So just go through these measures here. So in this chapter, 4th chapter in planning, as we have discussed the types of planning, see, democratic planning and authoritarian planning for 2 marks, perspective planning and annual planning for 2 marks, centralized and decentralized planning will be coming for 2 marks. Okay, go through these planning types of planning. Next, objectives of planning is a 5 marks question. Again, in that you will have self-reliance for 2 marks. Balanced regional development, you will get it for 2 marks. And Niti Aayog, sometime actually it is a 5 marks compulsory question. If they don't give it for 5 marks, they may also give it for 2 marks. For 2 marks, if they give this question, just write down the introduction. Okay. But if they give it for 5 marks, objectives 5, functions 5. And you can see the measures for balanced regional development. It is also a 5 marks question. So in this chapter, totally you're preparing 3 5 marks questions and 2 marks questions which are included in a 5 marks question. Is it clear? So this is all about your 4th chapter, where you're preparing with planning and its objectives, Niti Aayog, balanced regional development. From these 3 questions, compulsory you will get 1 question for 5 marks and 2 questions you will get for 2 marks. So 7 marks easily you can score from this chapter. So go through this one once, Niti Aayog. Yes, so students, hope everyone understood these concepts, right? So go through this chapter, whatever the questions we have prepared, we have discussed today, types of planning, objectives of planning, Niti Aayog, objectives and functions. Like your question will be write a note on Niti Aayog. If only objectives are given, only objectives you can write. Otherwise, you have to write these points. And measures for balanced regional development. So these all questions you prepare from this chapter. So this completes your 4th chapter. In tomorrow's session, we will start with our 5th chapter, which is most important for LAQ, SAQ and VSAQs. So we will continue in next class. So hope you all understood these answers today. Thank you.